Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a complicated game. After 25 years and counting, the card pool has grown to over 10,000 cards and it still continues to grow. Sometimes, don't you just wish that you could cut that number down? Lucky for you, Superheavy Samurai is a deck that does just that. These machines have never even heard of a spell or trap and will refuse to work if they even catch a glimpse of one. And by the end of this unnecessarily complicated guide to Superheavy Samurai, you will as well. To understand how Superheavy Samurai works, let's take a look at the key card of the deck, Superheavy Samurai Prodigy Wakaushi, a level 4 Dark Machine Pendulum Tuner monster. As the Pendulum effect too, if you have no spells or traps in your graveyard, place another Superheavy Samurai Pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum zone before special summoning itself. This requirement of having no spells or traps in your graveyard is present on most Superheavy Samurai effects, so I will avoid mentioning it from now on, just assume it's there. Otherwise, this is a great Pendulum effect, not only allowing us to special summon Wakaushi for essentially free, but also allowing us to scale Superheavy Samurai Monk Big Benkei from our deck. A Pendulum monster that has a Pendulum effect too, if you control a Superheavy Samurai monster, search for a Superheavy Samurai Soul monster. As for Wakaushi's monster effects, it can discard a monster to special summon a Superheavy Samurai monster from the hand or deck, but locks into Superheavy Samurais for the rest of the turn. As the Superheavy Samurai extra deck is pretty weak, this lock is harsh, meaning that we won't be using this till the end of our combo, if at all. Lastly, if Wakaushi is used as a material for a synchro summon and added to your extra deck, you can place in your Pendulum skill, which with the Benkei we scaled before, completes all skills for a Pendulum summon. Wakaushi and Benkei are the main reason Superheavy Samurai have any competitive relevance at all. In fact, it's so good that other decks like to run them as well. You may have noticed that Benkei searches for a group of monsters known as Superheavy Samurai Souls. These are monsters that can equip themselves to a Superheavy Samurai to give it an effect. The main one we'll be searching is Soul Piercer, a level 4 Earth machine that gives the equipped monster piercing, but more importantly, if it is sent to the graveyard from the field, it searches for any Superheavy Samurai monster. You may notice the distinct lack of a once per turn on this card. Soul Piercer is the heart of our combos, often getting us multiple searches over the turn, and as we do have a link one, it's trivial to send it to the graveyard. As for other Superheavy Samurai Souls, we also have Soul Gaia Booster and Soul Horns, which make the equipped monster a tuner and let the equipped monster attack twice respectively. But we're mostly interested in the effect to special summon themselves, making these decent extenders that we can search as needed. A Superheavy Samurai Soul that's much more interesting is Soul Peacemaker, which makes your opponent unable to attack any monster other than the one it is equipped to, but also allows you to tribute the equipped monster to special summon a Superheavy Samurai from the deck. We'll mostly be using this effect to special summon Superheavy Samurai Scales, a level 4 Earth machine that can special summon itself if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control none, but more importantly, when it is normal special summon, you can target a level 4 or lower Superheavy Samurai in your graveyard and special summon it. Alternatively, we may use Soul Peacemaker to summon Superheavy Samurai Wagon, a monster that with normal special summon can change its battle position, and as a hard once per turn, can change itself to attack position to search yet another Superheavy Samurai Soul. These monsters may be bricky, but as long as we can get them on field either through Soul Peacemaker, Pendulum summoning them, or even normal summoning them, they make for great extenders. Last but not least, Superheavy Samurai Motorbike is a level 2 machine tuner that serves as the road of the deck, able to discard itself to search for any Superheavy Samurai monster. It can also increase the level of a machine monster we control by 2, helping us to go into XCs and synchro monsters. Motorbike may look unassuming, but the consistency it gives us is valuable, and being a level 2 tuner means that we can revive it with XL Synchro Stardust Dragon, helping us climb into synchros like Baron the Flow, making it important to get into rotation. Getting into the extra deck, Superheavy Samurai Scarecrow is the only link of the deck, a link that requires a Superheavy Samurai as material that cannot be used as link material. You don't take battle damage from battles involving it, and by discarding a monster, you can target and special summon a Superheavy Samurai from your graveyard to a zone Scarecrow points to. Scarecrow has fantastic synergy with the rest of our cards, allowing us to link of our Soul Piercer or the monster is equipped to for a search and immediately revive it for yet another search. Being unable to be used as a link material may seem like a setback, but we can subvert this by simply tributing it using Soul Peacemaker, clearing the extra monster zone for us to use later. As for synchros, we have a few to note. The main Superheavy Samurai synchro we'll be making is Brave Masarowo, a generic level 12 that can attack in defense position using its defense, and if a Superheavy Samurai monster will be destroyed, it can destroy another Superheavy Samurai card you control instead. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap, Masarowo lets you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. This may seem impressive, but the main cards we want to protect aren't Superheavy Samurais, so for what it costs us, it isn't too great. That being said, it's still the best Superheavy Samurai synchro, so whenever we have extra materials, we might as well summon it. Another synchro we have to mention is Superheavy Samurai Ninja Sarutobi, a level 8 synchro that requires a machine tuner and one or more non-tuner Superheavy Samurais to summon. It can attack in defense position using its defense, but more importantly, it's the quick effect to target and destroy a spell or trap and inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Although this may seem like expensive spell and trap removal, the true value in this effect lies in its ability to destroy and trigger artifact Scythe on our opponent's turn to lock their extra deck, making it a consideration for our end board. The rest of the Superheavy Samurai synchros are pretty lackluster, so we'll be mostly relying on generic cards for our end boards, but feel free to run them by preference. Luckily, we have access to quite a wide pool of generic cards. Level 8 synchros are easily accessible with this deck, allowing us to make Borrowed Savage Dragon for an Omni Negate and Exo Synchro Stardust Dragon, which can revive a motorbike from our graveyard to help us climb into Baron the Floor. We also have access to the rank 4 pool, allowing the staples of Abyss Dweller and Baguska to be strong pieces in our end boards. But as we mostly use machine monsters, we also have the option of Gear Gigant X, allowing us to search Cyberstein to end on Nichira X0 for spell and trap negations if needed. As for links, although we have the usual suspects of IP Masquerade and Appaloosa, we also have some other interesting options. We of course have the previously mentioned Artifact Dagda, allowing us to send an Artifact Scythe from our deck, which we can then pop with Sarutobi on our opponent's turn, locking them out of their extra deck. But a particular standout in this deck is Cleaford Genius, a link monster that requires 2 machine monsters to summon. If 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones it points to, we can search for a level 5 or higher machine monster, a condition which is easily accomplished with our Pendulum Summon, allowing us to search Terran King Regulus for an Omni Negate. Another link of interest is Ancient Gear Ballista, a link monster that requires 2 Earth machines to be link summoned, and when link summoned can search for an Ancient Gear monster or Gear Town. We'll be using this to search for Ancient Gear Box, which when added to a hand except by drawing it, searches for an Earth machine with exactly 500 attack or defense. This gives us some extra cards that we can Pendulum Summon or use for discard causes, helping us raise the ceiling of our combo even higher. There's definitely several options to build this deck, and which build is preferred will depend on the current format. This is the basic combo of the deck that requires just Soul Piercer and a monster to discard. We begin by normal summoning the Soul Piercer and linking it off for Scarecrow, triggering the Soul Piercer to search for Motorbike, which we will then discard to search for Waku Ushi. We scale the Waku Ushi and activate its Pendulum effect, scaling Big Benkei from our deck and special summoning itself. After which, we will go ahead and search for Soul Peacemaker with Benkei. From here, we use Scarecrow's effect, discarding the other card from our hand to special summon the Soul Piercer from our graveyard. Afterwards, we synchro off our XL Synchro Stardust Dragon. Waku Ushi will place itself back into our skill, XL Synchro Stardust Dragon will special summon Motorbike from our graveyard, and Soul Piercer will search for our wagon. Now we can synchro summon the Baron before equipping the Soul Peacemaker to our Scarecrow and tributing it to special summon as skills from our deck, which when special summon will special summon a Soul Piercer back from our graveyard. We link these 2 monsters into Cleaford Genius, triggering the Soul Piercer to search for our Waku Ushi. Now we will perform our Pendulum Summon, summoning the Waku Ushi and wagon to the zones Cleaford Genius points to. This triggers the wagon to change itself to defense position as well as triggering the Cleaford Genius to search for regulars, which we will proceed to summon, equipping a Soul Piercer. We now activate the wagon to search for a Sogai booster before we link it off for an Artifact Dagda. Finally, we'll activate Waku Ushi's monster effect, discarding the Sogai booster to special summon a Soul Piercer from our deck, which we will then chain our Artifact Dagda to in order to send an Artifact Scythe from our deck. Lastly, we synchro summon for Sarutobi, triggering the Soul Piercer for the last time this turn to search for a wagon for the next turn. However, if you're riding the Ancient Gear Ballista package, we can end our combo a little differently. Instead of going straight into our Artifact Dagda, we'll link up for an Ancient Gear Ballista first, triggering its effect to search for an Ancient Gear box that searches for an Infiltrate Tunneler. We'll then equip and special summon the Sogai booster, linking it off for the Dagda. Like before, we activate our Waku Ushi and chain the Artifact Dagda, but this time we discard the Infiltrate Tunneler from our hand. The combo ends similar to before as we synchro summon the Sarutobi and search for our wagon. But this time, we can banish the Tunneler from our graveyard, shuffling 5 Earth machines into our deck to draw 2 cards, giving us better follow-up plays. This is the alternate combo of the deck that allows us to end on Nichiro Exterior. The first half of the combo is roughly the same. We normal summon the Soul Piercer and link it up for Scarecrow, triggering the Soul Piercer to search for Motorbike, which will discard the search for Wakaushi. We once again skill the Wakaushi and activate its effect, scaling Benkei from the deck and special summoning itself. After which, we activate the Benkei to search for a Soul Peacemaker. From here, we use Scarecrow's effect, discarding the other card from our hand to special summon the other Soul Piercer from the graveyard, synchroing off for an Exile Synchro Stardust Dragon. Like before, Wakaushi will place itself back into the scale and Exile Synchro Stardust Dragon special summon Motorbike from our graveyard, but this time, Soul Piercer will search for a Soul Gaia booster. We still synchro the Baron before equipping the Soul Peacemaker to our Scarecrow and tributing it to special summon skills from our deck, special summoning Soul Piercer back from the graveyard. However, this time, we'll equip the Soul Gaia booster to Wagon and special summon itself, overlaying both of them for Gear Gigant decks, detaching a material to search for Cyberstein. We now link these two monsters into Cleaver Genius, triggering a Soul Piercer to search for a Wakaushi. Now we perform our Pendulum Summon, summoning the Wakaushi and Cyberstein to the zone's Cleaver Genius point to, triggering the Genius to search for regulars, which will proceed to summon, equipping a Soul Piercer. We activate Cyberstein, paying 5000 life points to special summon the Nichiro Exterior, before linking it off for an Artifact Dagda. If you have another card to discard Wakaushi's effect, we can end our combo like before. Otherwise, you have to activate Baron's effect to destroy the equipped Soul Piercer, triggering it to search for a Superheavy Samurai monster that we will discard to activate Wakaushi's effect, which we will chain our Artifact Dagda to. Lastly, we Synchro Summon for Sarutobi, triggering the Soul Piercer for the last time to search a Wagon for our next turn. As usual, here are the deck lists for a few variants of Superheavy Samurai. The core of the deck is pretty much set in stone, so the main differences are what end boards you'll be going for. Superheavy Samurai also has a lot of free slots for hand traps and tech cards, so definitely change them up to fit what you're going against. The support from Duelist Nexus really saves Superheavy Samurai, transforming it from a joke of an archetype into a deck that can hang with the best of them. Maybe there's something to be said about how Superheavy Samurai always had the potential to be a good deck, but really the support is a reminder that no matter how bad your deck is, Konami can decide at any moment to make it good. After all, card design is circular.